and good evening, and welcome
Hey,
to the truth
the
Truth
truth
behind the
behind
behind the
the
truth.
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 Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Guys, I want to say very first off, thank you so much for your patience and waiting for us. Now, a little technical difficulty
Yeah.
in what we call traffic in LA. But getting to the set and all that good stuff. We thank you for your patience, those that are out there waiting. Hopefully, we didn't lose a lot of you tonight, but it's all good. At the end of the day, to go back and watch it if you didn't catch it at the time that you're supposed to. We do make ourselves available.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have this team that we have, a part of us. Harold and Parnell are just a joy to have, a part of our team. It does my heart good every week to see you guys smiling faces. It does. It really, really does. And the commitment that you've given to Truth Behind Truth and where we're going with everything. Y'all, I'm telling you, audience, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. These four handsome men are going to be taking over the airways on ABC, NBC, somebody see real soon. So y'all can see us everywhere. Y'all can be seeing us, all right? At the end of the day, you will be seeing it. And somebody seeing. But anyway, we definitely want to welcome our Facebook family, YouTube family, Instagram family, TikTok family, UK family, and everybody's family that want to join in as well.
That's right.
We do want to remind you to like and share. Now, one of the things I want to bring up a quick point about liking and sharing. If you have gone to the Truth Behind Truth page, okay, and liked the show, but you had not did the drop down to get the update or when the show goes live or when we post something, you'll never know, okay? Even though we love the likes, okay? However, you got to make sure that you also get the notification part. So if you haven't done that, please go there so that when the show comes on and when we're posting about the guests and everything that's available out there, for you, and, information we're putting out there as well. Okay, about the Good Living Now, all those things are on the page. You got to go and search for them though. All right. So want to remind you guys of that. Please do that for us as well. YouTube, all you got to do is subscribe. Keep the numbers are going up. We love you, YouTube. They keep going higher. We need millions. Okay, we need because these men want to get paid. Okay, so we need millions of y'all. All right, tuning in and being a part of us. But we do love you for those of you who supported us, and we've got some great things that are coming up, going into the fall season and going into next year. You're really going to be pleasantly surprised as to what is happening with Truth Behind the Truth. Yes. Awesome time. Right. All right, fellas, how you doing?
We good.
All right. Love it. Let us know. Parnell, and guys, if you're in Southern California and need information about Parnell's show, please reach out to us. Send an email. Go to the Truth Behind the Truth page, click the button, and we'll get the email. Matter of fact, while I brought that up, I'm sorry, I know I'm running them out. Go to the Truth Behind the Truth page. Okay, click on the email. Okay, send us your email address. Okay, so that you can get bulletins, updates, and things that we got coming up. So you'll be the first hand to be able to know about it. If you don't do it, hey, we may be giving $1,000 away per show. You don't know that, okay?
It can happen.
If we don't have your email, okay? Hey, what they call it, phase in motion. All right, so therefore, we may be giving away $1,000. So say, hey, we need your email address. Or it's true. Or those had already given us your email address. All right, So good need to give us your email address. All right, we ain't gonna bug you. We ain't ask you what you're doing privately. Okay. We're not gonna send out them type of emails. Don't worry about it. All right. You keep your shit to yourself. All right.
Yo who?
New pronunciation. I never heard of.
But speaking of Parnell's show, what's the name of the show, Parnell, and where it's at, and where can people get tickets?
Okay, yeah, thank you. It is the Festival of the Arts, Pageant of the Masters here in Laguna Beach, California.
Yes.
So if you just go Festival of Arts, Pageant of the Masters, type that in and it'll pop up. And it's a show that has been running, I think, about 90 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And it's basically each year they have a theme and they take artists and they recreate either the painting or a sculpture from a famous artist, and they use real live people to recreate the pieces or the statues. So it's like this year we got the Statue of Liberty, we got Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
There's a statue of Cleopatra that's beautiful. There are paintings, and they really try to be very diverse with who is represented. So we have African Americans, we have Native Americans represented, we have Mexican American, artists that are represented, as well as white people. White people are still represented.
Right. Okay.
You know, and there's a lot of male and female artists whose work is being presented. And each year there's a different theme and different artists get represented. And I think the only thing that's consistent is Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is always the final tableau that they do.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
really incredible.
Awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, we're going to get down to see before the show ends. You know, Pernell definitely, you know, to be a part of it, we want to support our brother dearly. You know, in the efforts. And again, those of you that are in the Los Angeles area, please try to make sure and get down and see that, you know, as well. And whatever else he's got going on, I'm sure that ain't all he's gonna have going on, y'all. All right.
That's the iron in the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do want to mention real fast that tonight our co-hosts are going to be hosting, because this is our interview tonight, and I got some shit I got to get off my chest. All right?
Oh my goodness!
But before we dig in tonight, guys, so we're going to be commercial free tonight, guys. By the time that we're on the air.
Yeah.
Real quick, and next week, and I hope that you guys can probably get, you know, we're going to review this together. We are definitely going to have the reviews on Respect. My God, from what I have read, Jennifer Hudson is blowing up America this weekend. Okay, with the Aretha Franklin story. I mean, every person that has seen, I've looked at the reviews on Fandango, and I mean, if this was, I'll put it this way, if this was a theatrical side to this, she would have an EGOT this time. She would. I mean, honestly. And Susan said she loved it. I mean, she would have an EGOT this time. I mean, really, they're saying powerful performance, vocal on point, and everything. So I applaud her. I mean, I've been a fan of her for forever and a day, you know, and I applaud her for this effort. But in a time where we need this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need this kind of gathering back, a good feeling back into the theater and all stuff about all of the things that's going on in America at this point. But I'm gonna shut up. All right, guys, y'all had the floor. Harold.
Wait, but you know what? To add on to what you're saying about the movie, is a lot of pressure on this movie to do good within the theater realm of it, because it's not streaming on streaming channels.
Right.
It's in the theater. So I think the heavy promotion of this film is needed for money to be rejuvenated back into our movie theaters.
Right.
And along with some other films. So people go support the film, go support Jennifer, and support these theaters, because they're going to need all the help. Since the pandemic, it's been kind of hard because people have not been coming to the theaters because of the COVID. So yeah, this is a much needed celebration, not only for this movie, but you know what? I'm an Aretha Franklin fan.
Right.
I'm an Aretha connoisseur, so the pressure is on. I got to see what she's going to bring to the table vocally, because let me tell you something, Aretha, if you're an Aretha Franklin fan, you know, we always joked about this. She takes her time, and the vocals are iconic.
Right.
So I'm wanting to see what is she going to bring. And if the reviews are on point, then the pressure's on my end.
Right.
So I'm wanting to see what she's going to bring. But I know Jennifer Hudson's going to bring that fire, because she's a great vocalist. Yes, she's a very great vocalist.
So you guys are going to give us the review next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, hopefully, why don't you just pop in? You give your point too. Go ahead and see it as well between now and next week if you can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe, Put me on the spot, right? I'm like, okay.
Sneak in one of those juices. Have a big old bag and sneak in the juice.
Here you go. Set up your black seed oil stand in the back of the
right. Sea moss, black seed oil.
I know, right? Exactly. Going down the aisleway, right? You know, put that popcorn away. You don't need that.
Right.
You don't. Not these days.
I know, really.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Harold. Tonight is yours, and you and Parnell say, "Hey, we're open." I got some stuff I need to get off my chest, but y'all go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, you and Dee are the king of current events. So I wanted to ask you guys about what you thought about the Governor Cuomo resignation.
Oh, yes, yes. You know, my point, if I may,
Go ahead.
okay, I'm gonna open it from an open perspective, okay, and look at it from both angles, okay, from coming from an affectionate person, okay, at the end of the day, and Harold, as Geminis, we're very affectionate people, and we love to embrace in whatever the case may be, and give hugs. Should he have used in better planning? Probably so. Because in that arena, you don't know who is out to get you at the end of the day. Because it becomes a political platform, number one, because the Republican Party is still looking for reason to carry you down because you've been a successful Democrat. I mean, I'll you can speak on the same thing about Obama during that time frame as well, but I'll let you share that part. But my point about it, I think that the unfortunate is he was, I think, acting out of who he was as a person.
Right.
Now, can we say that he slipped his hand down the blouse of that particular girl? I mean, okay, here's the thing. If that was the case, why did you wait till now to say something about it? If it was that, degrading to you. You waited to now. All these years you've been supporting him, and now all of a sudden now you're going to be on the defensive about it. I'm like, I don't know. That's questionable. At the end of the day. Now, if he did do what he did with her, okay, hey, he needs to be dealt with in that aspect of it. However, I just when he gave his resignation, he appeared to be very strong but remorseful at the same time. And apologetic enough at the same time to walk away saving face, because he couldn't get up with the handkerchief and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," that wouldn't have happened. He'd have been having Jerry Falwell moment. But that's a whole other story from way back when. Okay, but those of you know about that Jerry Falwell moment, at the end of the day. So, but anyway. So, but I just really think that, I'm sorry that he had to give up that he had to give up his position. I think that he has done a lot for New York. Was he perfect? No. Did he make some decisions that he shouldn't have made? Yes, he did. At the end of the day. But hell, who doesn't make those type of decisions, especially in that position? I mean, he's been accused of, basically kind of locking away the elderly during COVID, and wasn't giving them the proper tent, all that, went on. Pseudo stuff went on allegedly, with all that. So I think that when you're in that type of position, you just have to be very careful, what you do, what you expose to. And even us, hey, hell, at the end of the day, we got a great show. At the end of the day, as we grow, as we get more and more out there are always going to be opportunities to try to tear you down. But I don't believe in saying this, but I'm buying that down and then. I'm buying that ever comes in this show. All right. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get a machine gun, a rifle, M8 or something. Go get keep you out of the way. But
to add on to what you're saying, in this, and we were just talking about this before the show, in any industry is a game that you have to play. You have to play the game safe. And in Andrew Cuomo's situation, he was already enemy number one in Trump's world and during this COVID situation, because he was the leading face of how to fight COVID, right, and how to organize and deal in a situation as bad as it was in New York at that time period. And honestly, in his situation, it's so unfortunate, it's so terrible. But the one thing I have a disagreement on is that at the end of the day, I think, and the Democrat in me is saying they should have picked a bigger battle than this, because what's going on is that y'all have allowed this to cloud the forum of his situation instead of getting ready for what is to come.
Good point.
Because what is to come is that you have a party who is, you name it, they have corruption all up and through it, and had a president who didn't mind on camera in recording talking about grabbing women by do you know who,
right?
And that he could have a 4-year term without any type of situation going up against him.
Absolutely.
The Democrats have to do a better job in compartmentalizing these situations, because at the end of the day, Andrew, he was wrong, but this should not cloud the cloud the whole entire scenario of what's going on.
Right.
Because what's going on is that people are still being evicted, people are still out of work, COVID is still rampant, and people are still losing focus. And in fact, in this state alone, we're going through a recall situation. Why haven't the Democrats focused on that? Because the state of California, and we talked about this a long time ago, with the poverty, with the homelessness, and with this, it's a recipe for Republicans to come back and take over this state. And they are guaranteed of taking this state back tenfold. Andrew did a horrible thing. I'm not going to combat what these women are saying, but at the end of the day, this is for all of you leaders, mayors, governors, presidents, whoever, congressmen. Watch this, but do not kick the dirt underneath the rug. If this man can come from this far up on grace and then fall the way he did, you need to take a page out of his book and do the opposite of what he did. Because I can reiterate this story. I remember there was an MSNBC anchor named Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews, when Obama was president, they used to mock Obama, talking about why is it that he cannot make deals with the Republican Party? Why can he be like the old guard and go to these cocktail parties and make deals and be good and getting good and making a good deal to help his party or help whoever his constituents or help the country? Come to realize that at these cocktail parties is where mess gets started. You got drinks, you got women, you got men, you got pages all over the place. They're touching each other. They're doing all types of crazy things to each other. Chris Matthews lost his job because he did some indiscretions at MSNBC, and then at the end of the day, he's been blackballed. So at the end of the day, people do not throw stones. Learn, live and learn, because this can happen to you. And I'm so sorry that this happened to Andrew. I think Andrew was a great governor, great mayor. What's he, governor? Governor. I'm so sorry, great governor. He did a lot for New York, but this was just an unfortunate situation. But at the end of the day, the Democrats need to compartmentalize and get focused, because this country is in parallel. But,
go ahead, Parnell.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that a lot of times I think the Democratic Party is so busy trying to show that we have more moral character, that they tend to throw people under the bus, so to speak. Like, oh, you did what? You need to step down and resign. And I was really kind of looking side-eyed at Joe Biden when he was talking about Cuomo needs to step down. I was like going, as Felicia Rashad used to say on the Cosby Show, let the record show there were charges against you during your presidential run where women were saying that you were sexually harassing them. So you might want to be quiet on this one. I'm just saying.
Right.
So there's, of anything, he should have been the one going like, listen, I know what it's like to have people accuse you of sexual harassment when that was not your intent. So I think we should give Andrew Cuomo the benefit of the doubt and investigate this. And that's the problem. The Democrats are so busy being on the moral high ground that without really investigating, oh, you need to step down. And I'm the kind of person, like, if you accuse me of something that I know damn well I didn't do, I'm not going no damn where. Prove it. Prove that I did it. Because I know what I did and what I did not do. So I'm what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about my business, and you can call for me to resign all the damn much you want to. I ain't going to damn place until it is proven that I did what you say I did. And you know what's not going to happen? That, because I didn't do it.
I like the point that you were saying about moral high ground, and very, very good element, to factor into the conversation, and if we're looking at this from the perspective, and I'm going to weave this particular group into this as well, that now, so what's happening is it's kind of like a repositioning of the Democratic Party, quote unquote. Okay, that's why I say I'm a Demopublican.
That's a new one. Oh, that's a new third party. Okay, that's a new third party.
Exactly. Call me a Demopublican. Okay, at the end of the day, but what happened is that what they're doing now, because they have this idealistic way of power, because they're typically in control right now. So what's going to happen is that now we're going to try to paint this picture that we're perfect. Okay, and try to raise up the moral code, and make it look like that. Oh, well, we don't do the things that the Republican Party does. you know, at the end of the day. Bill Clinton. But anyway, so, you know,
and that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Okay.
Because now with just an accusation, then you just have to just succumb to whatever the accusation is without being charged with, you know, that's a very dangerous pattern.
So it really is, as you said, it's really putting yourself in a position that you really, on the street, you really don't want to walk down. You know what I'm saying? The greater part about that is that you should have supported in a way of, like you said, Parnell, supported in a way of investigation. Say, hey, you know, I understand that these alleged opportunities that may happen, but, you know, highlight his great points, highlight what he has done, keep the focus off on the opportunity of what has been presented, you know, at the end of the day. All right.
Or prove that he was guilty.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. You know, I mean, these idiots. Okay, I'm gonna say these idiots that followed that orange Cheeto down in Migueligo, you know, followed him, you know, all the way, would have been all the way to the grave, and they still following him at the end of the day. But my point was, they're gonna bring about that is that the sad part about that end of the political, I'll just say, platform is that it's so supported by white evangelicals. Excuse me, my Caucasian, you know how I am, family, but you are, and not you, and in general, but it's supported by the evangelical community. Now, there's some blacks a part of it, you know, there's some, you know, but when you try to establish a moral code for society based upon your understanding about biblical principles, first of all, you way out base anyway, because God ain't never called you to do that in the first place. Never did. All right. He never called you. He never called you. It's all good. She know what I'm talking about. All right. But God never called you to do that. God never called you to set up a moral fiber for a group of people that doesn't have the idea that you have. Number one, He never told you to come into the U.S. and make this moral justice for everybody. Okay. So you created this panacea. But now here's the thing. You shift your own panacea. So you become, it's when it's convenient for you to be moral, you'll become moral. So when it's not convenient to be immoral, so in other words, you will support immorality for the convenience of something that you think you want. Okay. And that is so, I mean, that, to me, at the end of the day, it's going to creep up and it's going to slap them in the face at the end of the day, and it typically has. So yeah, the Republicans? No. Well, the evangelicals, okay. Oh, okay. But the evangelicals support so much of the Republican agenda. You know what I'm saying? And then you had this Cheeto that was in the White House, you know, doing all kinds of things. But the evangelical party, hey, he can get away with it. We don't see it. We're going to turn our back. We don't want to see what he's doing. We don't want to acknowledge what he's doing. But my point, bringing it back full circle. Yeah. So, but yet now the same group, the same group has come in now. Oh, we got to take Cuomo down, okay? You know, because he has embarrassed New York. He's done all of that, and all these other type of things that are involved. And
I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But the thing about that is, that's when we don't hold these people accountable for their hypocrisy.
Right.
When people are not held accountable, they do and say whatever they want to say, and they're not being taken to task about it. Now, the evangelicals, and this is just me because I was raised in the Bible Belt. I know how people think about certain things. Certain things are bigger than others. Homosexuality is one. You know, even having abortion is bigger than murder in some places. Right. Even rape. These people are lunatics, and I hate to say it. I'm sorry if it sounds harsh, but it's lunatic. But what really irks me is that as a country, as a collective, we know these people are lunatics, but we do not hold them accountable for their craziness. Right. And the fact is, some of these politicians do not hold their stance when it boils down to certain things of that nature. When it boils down to religion, when your religion becomes bigger than some other people's religion, and the crazy thing about in America, of all places, the evangelicals like to put out this propaganda that we cannot have Sharia laws and all this stuff because it goes against the grain of our Christian nation. Well, at the end of the day, stop calling this place the melting pot.
Right, and it's not a Christian nation.
It is not a Christian nation. If you keep false advertising to the world about the rights of people and their religions and stuff, stop putting Christian on top of this country that guarantees you to come in and guarantees you to, you know,
to embrace.
to embrace people's cultures and religions and to do whatever, because you're just false advertising to the world that this is a Christian nation. Whatever religion you bring is not bigger than my religion.
Right, absolutely.
And that needs to be, those people need to be held accountable for that craziness.
Well,
but it's, you know.
Well, speaking to your point, I mean to cut you off right now.
Yeah.
But speaking to your point, you know, even with that aspect of it, because that has been one of the hugest problems about America right now, and as far as I can know, you know, it's 1776 and on back, is that because, you know, even I know I'm all over the place. Let me get my thought here. No, because I was trying to say so much of the same at one time, and I had to grab myself.
Hold your mule, hold your mule.
I had to reel it back in. Okay, keep going. So my point is here again is that when we look at the founding fathers, we want to founding people. I won't say founding fathers because they were not fathers. Well, maybe then they were. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, that's a whole nother discussion. But what we miss is that this group of men, okay, we don't know where their religious perspective stood. They assume that they are religious because they put God in the Constitution, which is fine. Okay, at the end of the day, all right. There's a lot of religions that use the term God, okay, and bring that into the particular equation. It wasn't presented there to be the Christian God, okay. It was presented as an inclusive God. Okay, so they had to have the idea, understand that, first of all, when they came here, anyway, the Native Americans were already here worshiping their form of their God. Amen. Okay, so you can't even take that away from the whole aspect of it. But you wanted to become, in the long and short is that you wanted this nation to become a Christian nation based upon the principle that you bought from Europe. Okay, and what has happened is that Americans as a whole has fought so greatly against that now we don't have unity among humanity. See what I'm saying? Because one thing about religion, it divides the idea of what could be conquered in the level of humanity. Because it goes down to belief factors. Well, I don't believe this way. You believe this way. I don't. So therefore, there's no harmony. There's no peace. There's no gathering of the souls, you know, at that particular point in time. So this is why one of the reasons for all of these years later, this country is still in the position of not being able to find harmony. Now, here's the thing. I know I'm being stretched out at this point, but can you just imagine that if they would have came with the peace and harmony of what we call our Creator, do you think that slavery would have been around as long as it would?
Sheesh, that just touched me.
Ooh, you see what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to know God, but yet you looked at Africans as inhuman.
Right. And then 3/5 of a human at one point.
3/5 of it.
Yeah.
And still do.
Well, you still do.
You still have missionaries that go to Africa.
But here's the thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. But right now to this day, that you have evangelicals that still look at the African American community as slaves. Okay, so my point is not to bring up a conversation about slavery, because I mean we could really go there. All right, but that's not, but that's not my point. There was a point I was going to make about that tonight, but if it comes up, I will. Yes. But back to what I was saying. So I'm just talking about the heart of man. I'm talking about the soul and the spirit of man. If they would have stepped foot on this continent with the heart and the soul of humanity in mind, they would have been on the forefront of eradicating all of the issues that we're still fighting through today. You know what I'm saying? So we're fighting today because of past, quote unquote, past sins, if you want to use that, okay, and not getting accountable for those past sins. So that could roll into talking about Juneteenth, but I don't want to go there because there's another point I have about that. Maybe we'll get up to it later. But Parnell, I know you had a point you wanted to make. I know you got to go. But
no, well, I was thinking, like, when it comes to with Andrew Cuomo, that I thought that the Democratic Party would have learned its lesson about how quickly they got rid of Al Franken.
Oh yeah,
which again was a thing of like this whole obsession with seeming more morally on the moral high ground. And there, if I remember correctly, I know there was the woman that was in the military with him that claimed that he joked grabbing her breast or whatever over her body armor or whatever.
Right.
And then there's like, yeah, that happened, but then the very next picture is her doing the same thing to another guy. And it's like, see, now you can't be in on the joke and then later on come and just say like, well, I felt, but here you are in on the joke.
Right.
And also that this stuff happened when Al Franken was just a comedian. He wasn't in office at the time,
right.
Because his conduct as a comedian was different than his conduct as a civil servant.
Right.
So that, and then there was the one moment he claimed that he made these harassing phone calls, and then they traced stuff down. I was like, no, he only called you twice, and neither of those conversations were about what you're saying happened. He wasn't calling you and harassing you. That man spoke to you on the phone twice about these things. Like, see, that's what happens when you have receipts. You can go ahead and prove, but. Again, we had so many Democrats going like, oh, well, he's got to go because these women are saying this. I'm like, no, wait. Now, I'm all for believing victims, but I'm also for verifying that it's true.
Absolutely.
What they're saying.
Good point.
Because we know how many entire towns have been destroyed because a white woman lied and said a black man said something or did something to her, or even a rumor about it. So it's like going, wait, before we go off half-cocked and tear towns down, let's investigate. Who said, now who is this the person that was supposed to be the victim? Okay, now who is the person who's supposed to be the perpetrator? All right. Were they ever in the same room? No. This man was never anywhere near this woman? Then clearly this story is not the truth. Investigate stuff. We've seen how many times that people have, well, I can't sugarcoat it, lied about their involvement with people because they were embarrassed or ashamed of their involvement because they were cheating on their spouse, or their father was, upset about them losing their virginity to whether it's a white man, black man, or whatever, but especially if it's a white girl and a black man. Oh, he raped me. Like, no, he didn't. Y'all were dating, but you were mad. You were afraid that your dad was going to get mad at you for dating this black guy. So now you lie and accuse him. But then if we just blanket believe the victims without verifying the facts, we get a lot of people that are in trouble, whether that's sexual assault, whether that's embezzlement, whatever the case may be. You always have to investigate the facts before you just jump off and like, oh, so-and-so said you did something. Oh, he got to go. Al Franken should still be representing us.
Well, I wish that would have happened as early as the Salem witch trials.
Yes,
that's where all of that stems from. It goes back as far as the Salem witch trials is really without this type of storyline, but it is the same thing. People being shoved are being accused of doing witchcraft, which it wasn't witchcraft, but being killed because of it. The same thing being stoned because of it. The same thing with what's going on now. Any accusation, and it's in the American fabric to throw accusations before the actual truth comes out. That's true. And then you are proven by the public to be guilty anyway, because there's an agenda that's being pushed. And the agenda is, and especially in politics, is likability. Everybody wants to be liked. I wish people would stop voting on likability and vote on what have you done for me lately, honey? What have you done for me lately? I want to know, because you being in church all day with your family, being part of a college or being part of a family does not help me pay my bills, do not help me pay my rent, does not give me full benefits on a job, does not help my kids afford college or afford anything. Americans need to wake up, and I think that's what it's gonna have to stem from. We the people, because we the people hold the cards, and that's one thing I give Republicans credit for. They're a ride or die group. I just wish we as a country were a ride or die country for our freedom, and start holding these politicians accountable for the crap they're pushing on us, but not they're preaching, but they're not fighting for. I'm just saying. I'm to be honest with you, I'm just tired of us trying to hold these politicians accountable. We the people need to hold ourselves accountable.
True. Absolutely.
Next case.
Go ahead, Harold.
No. You brought up an interesting point about people just wanting to be liked, and in people just wanting to be liked, there lacks a level of authenticity. So even in politics and religion, there is very little authenticity, because I'm going to try to be whoever you need me, want me, or whatever is popular. So that's why when accusations come about, people are so quick to react, because they're not defined. They're not self-defined. You don't know who are you? What are we dealing with? And so, and speaking of that, So I don't know if you guys have followed follow Sean King and the recent stories about Sean King. One about his identity. You know, there's some skepticism or some speculation that he's not actually. I guess he portrays himself as being a black man, and there's some controversy whether or not that is true. But have you guys followed?
Yeah, I do follow Sean King, and to be honest with you, he's one of those people like Umar Johnson. I'm always side-eyeing because he needs donations to get his point across. And on top of that, I think he is biracial. But you know, who is it? Most of our greatest civil rights movement, our black leaders were biracial. Even, you know, as far as Booker T. Washington to Lena Horne to who was part of the leader of the NAACP, Randolph, and it's just Colin Powell. I don't even include it in Colin Powell, but the fact is, though, I mean, it's just Sean. I'm always side-eyeing because I mean, he speaks some facts, but you know, he does some crooked stuff behind the, you know.
Well, you know, I hope this is not deterring from that, but it's one of the points I wanted to kind of get off my chest today, part of the conversation that we're having. You know, you and I were having this discussion this past week of personal definement. Okay, and you remember we were sitting there having this conversation about personal definement, and we dug into it, and we realized that, and again, I love my Caucasian family very dearly, and they can understand where I'm going with this particular statement that I'm going to make. One of the saddest things that we have found that in Black culture, okay, rather than the opportunity, as they say, building Black businesses, the list goes on from there, whatever the case may be. One of the major problems that is still existing today, and I kind of equated this kind of back to Juneteenth, is that unfortunately in the African-American community, they do not believe something unless it has come through the verbiage of a Caucasian person.
That's true.
Let's stop and marinate on that for a moment. We don't, because Parnell, you can go to some of our, you know, well-established brothers or whatever, and you can bring a note, a profound note, and they won't act on it. But someone else from another color brings it to them. Oh, yeah, I get it. Oh, yeah, you don't understand. And this is, unfortunately, has been our practice, you know, within the community. That's one reason why we can't rise to the occasion. Okay. And it has come from typically from our synagogues, because here's the thing. Are you going to believe what the white Jesus say, or are you going to be what the Black Jesus say? You see, at the end of the day, well, we turn when the white Jesus says, oh, well, that's got to be Jesus. But the Black Jesus doesn't have the same impact. And I'm just using that as a metaphor, okay? I mean, you know, as a point. But I got really disturbed in the conversation that we were having, and I looked at, and this is going to challenge some of us. So, you know, I don't make it a positive point.
Well, this is the truth behind the truth. So go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. You know, absolutely.
Come on with it.
Absolutely. So
be unapologetic and say it.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked at, you know, even the celebration of Juneteenth coming about, okay, and how it has finally come to about a reconciliation point for America to recognize, you know, this holiday. All right. I looked at it and I took a step back from it, and I said, you know, it's very sad, even in that it took somebody of another color to say to those group of people that they were free, rather than accepting the fact that the word it came to them from their fellow brother that they were free. They had to wait for somebody else of another color. Oh, now we're free. You know, coming into the fact that now of just saying that now it's an opportunity that now we will celebrate an opportunity because Joe Biden has now said that you're free. You know, and it saddens me because I love my people. I love all people, you know, at the end of the day. But in order for the African-American community to rise to the occasion, you've got to accept your own freedom.
Without the white gaze.
Without somebody telling you you're free from another color.
See, and I know that there were some Black people who were pushing for Juneteenth to be recognized as a federal holiday. I get that. Right. But there are also a lot of Black people that are going, we didn't give a damn whether the government acknowledged it or not. We was going to celebrate Juneteenth regardless.
Right.
So it was like as we have been doing for years. Black people were already celebrating Juneteenth.
Right.
Yes, it's nice to have it as maybe a paid holiday for folks. Okay, great, that's wonderful.
Right. Okay.
However, I think that's the only benefit of it, is having it be a federally recognized holiday so people can get a paid day off.
Right.
Wonderful. Other than that, we was throwing our party regardless. Y'all can come if you want to, but every June 19th, we're throwing a party all across this country. And so there is that thing of, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a sense, because we will celebrate our own thing. Before the nation was celebrating Kwanzaa, before white people were talking about Kwanzaa, Black folks were still celebrating Kwanzaa anyway. And it was interesting watching Kwanzaa even become acceptable to Black people, because I've heard something, oh, Kwanzaa, we're gonna celebrate some made-up holiday. Newsflash, every holiday is made up. Every single holiday is made up. Christmas did not always exist. New Year's Eve did not always exist. Easter, Mother's Day, you name a holiday, at one point it did not exist. It's all made up. So why are we having an issue when a holiday specifically celebrating Black culture is created by Black people, and you want to poo-poo it and turn your nose up? That's to your point that you were saying, JB, is that, it's this whole thing of like how white people view it, and is it acceptable to white people? I don't give a damn about what Black people do that's acceptable to white people. I don't care. I don't live my life looking to be acceptable to white people. What's my shirt say?
Okay.
It's not my job to make you comfortable with my life.
Right.
Oh, we can go back as far as the civil rights movement. It took white celebrities to organize and to support Martin Luther King's movement on nonviolence. And it's and we're talking about this, but it's always been that narrative where there had to be somebody who was on like a Frank Sinatra or Marlon Brando to say, I support his ideas, and that got us all galvanized to support. Even though, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to not give us credit, because we were supporting these people. We were supporting the narrative, but there were a lot of people who were afraid, and there are people who are still afraid because of the possibilities of losing things, and that narrative has always been with us. As long as somebody is telling us, oh, it's all right from a white perspective, it's all right to support this person, even with the baby. Let's go into that situation. Even with the baby, with the rant that he did some weeks back, and now that the LGBT establishment is now saying, well, we will educate him on what is the narrative and why it was wrong to say those things. Now you're giving some Black people say, well, you see, they say it's okay to support him. Why can't we support him? Knowing that he wasn't talking to them, he was talking to some Black LGBT. He was talking to the Black LGBT community. It wasn't affecting them. It was affecting us, because we hear this language in our community all the time. But you do have this with some people. Well, the white establishment of the LGBT saying it's all right. Why can't y'all say it's all right?
Who cares?
Right.
Just saying.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Right.
I'm just like going, it's again, because I think with, and I'm sorry, Harold, if you have something.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Because it's kind of like, I look at it, and going way, way, way back, we have our Booker T. Washington mindset of respectability politics, that Black people have to be respectable and acceptable to white people. And then we have the Ida B. Wells are like, I don't give a damn what white people think. This is what I'm doing for Black people. And y'all can either get with the program or shut the hell up.
And they're killing us.
Yeah. And I'm on that side, because we have seen it doesn't matter how respectable and educated and well-mannered Black people can be if there are white people who think of us as less than. You can just be wealthy and well-educated and well-dressed and well-traveled. And what that builds up is like, okay, well, you're an exception to the rule, or okay, well, maybe you are, all right, but you're one of the good ones. Or this whole thing about being respectable to white people. How about just being respectable to Black folks? How about lifting ourselves up and looking at ourselves? And I'm looking at three gentlemen right here who hold themselves up very well, who are well educated and well spoken and kind hearted and loving people. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to see. And even for our brothers and sisters that are hood and ghetto and not well educated, those are still Black people. and I love them and support them, and I know that I need them to be engaged in this battle for our dignity and respect as human beings on this earth.
Right.
You know, because that's the thing that that's a class thing, just is all across the board, regardless of your ethnic background or your nationality. That's what it is.
Exactly.
I'm a suburb kid. That's how I grew up.
Right.
So that is my thing. So when I'm in the hood a little bit, I'm like going, okay, this is not my element, but I'm not afraid because I'm mindful when hoods are dangerous, but I'm not afraid to be around Black people.
Right.
I'm not afraid to call out homophobia and misogynoir and and all that stuff when Black women are being called out of the names or like there's some post about Black men asking Black women, well, why do you think Black men date out of their race? Boy, if you don't get somewhere and sit down, it's not anybody else's business to tell you why you're dating for white women. Ask your damn self, why are you dating white women?
Right.
And stop making excuses. Well, Black women are to this. Boy, I know a lot of white women that are the very same thing that you're accusing Black women of being, but you chase your little hat ass over there. So stop it.
Right.
Stop it. I will cheer for Black women unapologetically from sun up to sundown for how Black women have held the Black community together. Black women ride for every freaking body.
Right.
And it's about time that we as Black men, gay, straight, bi, whatever, stand by Black women who have upheld this community. Where we see that there were Black women when the gay community was in need, whether it was dealing with HIV and AIDS or whether it was just fighting for our rights. Black women were kind of there where they're going like, yeah, I'm gonna stand right behind you. I got you. I got your back. Then what happened for those worried about what the white gay community says, when it came time for Black women to be upheld by the greater white gay community, where were they? No damn where, unless it's a Black woman singing a song that they like, or giving the slang. That's like the white gay community owes its entire lingo to Black women. Yes, Miss Thing. Yes, girl. Honey. Yes, Black women.
Right. That's true.
That's where that came from.
That's true.
And here's the truth. Until you see yourself as equal to everyone, that everyone is your equal, you will always seek external validation. And the truth is, everyone is your equal. I don't care what your title is, what your education.
Very well said.
Everyone is your equal. We all have different assignments, different positions, but everyone is your equal. No one is better than you. No one is less than you. And until we get that point, we will always seek external validation.
Well, and to your point, Harold, again, y'all know I have to always go back, okay, to the what is it, from 10 a.m. to 12 o'clock each and every Sunday morning. Okay. The assembling of people together, all right, under this one headship, expected to get complete validation for their lives, which is supposed to be the gospel, which is representing truth, which is like to go out and have a better perspective on who they are as humans, don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't get it in terms of they don't get it. Well, they don't get it, but then they don't get it at the end of the day. So to the highest place that you can go to develop your self-esteem is the thing that is tearing you down the most. Okay. And I'm just, I'm not sorry. Okay. And I have to stop saying that because I realized, and I was having a conversation in my head with me,
with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It was good. We were debating. We were going back and forth. Like, whoa, you're right, boy. But the conversation I was having in my head, because I do that quite often because I really want to make sure that I'm processing things of life, best on the knowledge and my experience of what I've learned, and I asked, and at the same time, it becomes my conversation with our Creator. And I asked, why? And I told you this the other day. I asked him. I said, and Donald I said, please answer this for me. I asked him. I said, why have you endowed me, and particularly with this thought pattern that seems like I'm running against the Christian church, And I asked, I really did, because, I get pushback from people that I've been in the faith with for a long period of time. Well, you being very dogmatic. Well, no, I'm not being dogmatic. It's just that I hear truth. You see what I'm saying? I don't hear a lie anymore. And it's like I have just allowed the shirt, whatever else to come up to be transparent, not literally naked, transparent naked before humanity. But in order for me to get to humanity, I've got to get to them spiritually. Because that's what they're about. They're not about the Bible and all these other type of things and these pseudo ideas, but they're about their spirituality. But you have to be naked before them. But you have to pull off the layers in order to be naked. And if that comes with a layer of what Christianity has said about you, then I got to get rid of it. I can't have it a part of me because I got to be in a place where my nakedness is shown before you. Say, damn, he decided to be naked.
Take off the veil.
We don't want you to. I'm sorry. I mean, go ahead. We don't want you to put your clothes on. If you understand what I'm saying, at the end of the day, because we don't like this. We don't like what you're wearing. You know what I mean?
We don't want you to put the mask on.
We don't want you to put the mask on. And so I mean, in my own head, I struggle with that some days. And I feel like that. Well, and I've been attacked. Oh, you just attacking the church. You just attacking the church. No, I'm not attacking the church. I'm attacking the principles of what has come out of the church. Okay, and what has affected humanity. And if you're so blindsided that you're so stuck in them damn four walls that you can't see what's going on, and people are dying on the street because you don't see it, because you so want to create this idea for them that Christianity is supposed to be all this for them. No. I'm sorry, Mama. You got to get right down and have a conversation with people and find the hell out where they are. Okay, and I'm gonna clearly tell you that's what Jesus did. He didn't come into any place. Come on, well, you know what? Let me. You got this on, or you smell that way, or whatever the case. Giving all these layers and layers and layers and layers before he had a conversation with somebody. You need to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? There's too much mental health going on out here. At the end of the day, people don't want you on. Well, Jesus can fix it. No, he can't. If you're gonna fix it, he's gonna fix it. He'd have fixed me a long time ago. No, I need to talk to somebody. Okay, and I need to get real in my conversation. I need to know to find out my truth behind my truth, so I can get real about it. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, on a random tip, I'm just saying that's why most people who come from a religious perspective. I'm so sorry. A perspective do not need to go get into the arts. I feel like if you are from the church, you're trying to be an actor or whatever you're trying to be, do not do it. Oh, well, yeah. Because to be honest with you, with that mindset, you have to go into a field like that with that mindset, because everybody that you deemed as a sin or not part of your world is you got to compartmentalize that, and on top of that, you need to come with that type of mindset. Because let me tell you something, with that's why they're banning critical thinking out of schools in certain states in this country. Because there are certain states that supports that agenda of religion, and they support the fact that you need to abide by what this says because of the faith that we believe, and not go against it. And that is a dangerous thing in a way, in any situation, because we figured out with Jim Jones, you can't, if you drink of the Kool-Aid, you might not know where you might end up. I'm just saying, it's that in itself is a dangerous paradigm for anybody to go to a church and not ask questions.
Right. That's bottom line. Bottom line.
You don't need to sit there and just take the word verbatim. You need to ask questions. You need to take notes. That doesn't only go for the church, but that goes for everything that you deal with in life. You need to ask questions. You need to have your own mindset. You need to know what is right for you and what is wrong for you, and what you will stand by and what you won't stand by. If you love your fellow man, you wouldn't call your fellow man a sin or evil, or you need to understand why do you think like this, and give me an understanding. So I can take this all in and be respectful and be respectful and considerate of your existence. And the fact is, you don't have that coming out of the church, which makes people walk away from the church or run away from the church. Because those people, they're not going to sit there and they're not going to listen. They're going to say what you just said, well, God will fix it. But like you said, that's not a reality. Because I gotta fix it. I'm in this world. That's why I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna keep that. Listen, I was gonna say that my grandma used to tell us, but I'm gonna keep that off the record because no, because I don't want to offend nobody. It's coming from what you would call a backwards situation. But other than that, though, I'm gonna leave it there. But that is what we need to do. We need to ask questions, and we need to stand in our own truth, because this is what we stand in this program. Truth behind the truth.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Harold.
Sometimes truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts.
Absolutely.
And so often religious religions has taught Black people specifically to be very passive.
Right.
To be very passive.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You know, and waiting for the by and by and accepting things as they are and not challenging systems without challenging thoughts, you know, just accepting and just being passive and waiting for the afterlife.
You know, you bring up a very point. I think we can probably wrap it up with this particular point. I'm gonna have Dylan read this for me if he doesn't mind. You know, I was in in the middle of a family debate this past week. You know, between well, it's too long to get into it. It was a family debate going on. All right, and with this senior person of my family is in the Jehovah Witness faith. Okay, or Jehovah's cult. Call the shit what it is. Okay. It is. It's a cult. It's a damn cult. Okay. Anything that tells you that bottom line that denies you or tells you to deny who you are in existence as a human being is a cult. Okay. But anyway, that's not that part. So there was this debate going on with my younger brother and this other person that's a part of this. And one of the things that there was a question that posed for someone else that did God ever cry? Okay, or does God cry? And I was like, wow, it was a very provocative question, you know, this other person asked. So they asked this person that was supposed to be up and up in the quote unquote, you know, that faith, that religion. So I looked at it back and I was like, okay, it was a good question. So I responded, you know, I gave him information on what I knew. Yeah, well, yeah, God did cry. I mean, if you look at him in the form of Jesus, you know, whatever, Jesus cried in the Garden of Gethsemane. He cried at Lazarus' death, you know, and so that was a good question. So I figured I answered it right. Okay, so here comes this whole another agenda. Well, yes, our Savior does cry, you know, with the destruction of where the position of the world is and how he's about to destroy humanity and how bad the world is. And you know, I'm just kind of giving you the short version of what was responded. So I looked at that. I was like, no wonder why. Read this for you. Why people don't have the understanding of our Creator that they should. Okay, so you know. Just started. I probably would say that. We'll wrap it up with this right here. You know the whole thing. So this. I'm sorry. This is what I responded to this whole crap that came out. Okay, and so I'm gonna let Donald read it for you real quick.
It said I probably would have said it differently. I personally don't see the world as being bad. Humanity as a lot of issues, and that's true. The world, the planet, is doing just what it is supposed to do. The sun rises and sets. The circle of life is going on. The big deal is the love of God looks past humanity's issues and sees his greatest creation, which is humanity. He knows what he has created will figure it out. A lot of human life will be lost. However, it will come together in time. I am so grateful that you and I and so many are awake to what is going on, and the rest will get it together. The will of man is the will of God. They just don't know it.
Bottom line. Bottom line. Okay. We are awake. Harold, you're awake. Parnell, you're awake. Dylan, you're awake. There's so many of us that have watched the show that are awake, you know, and I play to the fact of being awake, and I'm grateful for the awake. And that answered my question as the saying the other day. I said, well, God, why am I hearing all this? Because I choose to be awake. I don't choose to be asleep. I don't walk into a place of sleep, you know, anymore. And when you are awake, you hear, you pay attention, you accept that, you know, at the end of the day. But realize is that whether it's black or white, you know, red or yellow, the list goes on, gay, straight, all those acronyms that we throw out there, you know, as to the representation of humanity. The bottom line is that, yeah, humanity will get it together because it's our destiny to get it together. You know, we've been created to get it together. You know, otherwise we'd all be alcoholics when people could stop being an alcoholic. They finally got it together. A drug addict finally gets it together. You know what I'm saying? Prostitute finally gets it together. A prostitute finally gets it together. And the list goes on. Yeah. You know, humanity will get it together. Right. Those of us on this show will not be on this side of the planet when it does happen, but humanity will get it together. You know, and allowing humanity to have its space to figure out what has been created in them to figure it out, because we all have the mind of Christ. We all have the mind of God. We all have the ability to figure out. It's just putting that other mind aside so that other mind, which is already in you, can figure it out and you can get it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like that
We
song
will get it
says,
together.
I believe.
Harold, you want to wrap it up for tonight?
No, that was it. That was the word.
Hey guys, thank you so much
That's
for
right.
tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. I mean, again, this was Dial Night interviews. Now, okay, we ran, like I said, I had a lot to pour out tonight.
Yeah,
I still got more, but I'm gonna give you for the show. All right, because this is some giat. Y'all need to get that. Y'all need to get out. But I will say this is that we are putting together a phenomenal show. Okay, that is going to be focusing on dealing with men. Okay. And we're going to really dig in. I'm telling you, okay? So, and we're not going to be holding anything back, all right? We want you to be transparent and expose yourself, okay? So that you can be, just as Parnell said, to supportive of the women in your community, okay? Now, I personally, I don't have a problem. If you find love in another race, that's good. We should do that at the end of the day. But don't neglect your race in the process of finding love in another race at the end of the day. And if you see something wrong with quote unquote your sisters, then hey, help them, educate them so they can be better, be better mothers, and all those other type of things. Not wearing bonnets. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
You don't want to get in that story. That's another one.
Another ad on pulling your damn pants up like that, showing your ass. All that goes in the same category. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it does. But anyway, pleasant night. Ladies and gentlemen, I know actor Keith Burke was supposed to be with us tonight, but he was out of town with another issue that was going on with him. Believe that he will be back with us next week. Okay, as far as the show's coming. But we're gonna have this discussion again. All right. Yeah. We're gonna have Harold taking the reins. Okay.
You did a good job, Harold. You really answered some good questions. I was
exactly. Our brother Parnell had to go, of course, because you guys know he's in a wonderful show here in California, so he had to go and get ready to get on stage. All right. But we love you for tuning in tonight. Those of you stuck with us through the late hour, we appreciate that as well. Yeah. Normally we'll be back on our regular schedule time, next week as well. Yeah. Anyway, have a powerful night. We will be back with you again next week on The Truth Behind the Truth with actor Keith Burke, okay? And more to come. Getting excited. Love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in to the what? The Truth Behind the Truth. Yeah. Good night, all. Yeah.